An estimated 275 Australians will develop diabetes every day, and it's costing $10.3 billion just for type 2 diabetes alone. With me today is Hayden Keys, our naturopath. Hayden, welcome.
Thank you, Delmay.
So what is diabetes?
So diabetes is when our blood sugars get too high.
Okay, and there's two types, I believe.
Yes, there's two types. There's type 1, which is generally comes on early in a person's life, and then there's type 2, which for most people develops as they get a little bit older, and that makes up 85% of cases.
And so what are the symptoms of diabetes? How do you know you've got it?
So the symptoms are lack of energy, often feeling thirsty, hunger, and for type 2 diabetes, often putting on a lot of weight.
So is there any particular group that's at risk more than others?
Traditionally speaking, the older you get, the higher your risk of developing diabetes. And proportionally, the largest group is those over the 45 to 50 year age.
So the baby boomers?
That's correct.
Okay. So what can we do to prevent it, or is there anything you can do to prevent diabetes?
Yeah, so diabetes is a problem around sugar and sugar handling by the body. So in order to manage it naturally, what we want to do is look at naturally keeping the sugar in our bloodstream low.
Okay, and how do we do that?
The way we do that is by eating foods that don't break down into much sugar. So we want to stay away from the foods that generally contain starch in them, and those starchy foods, they break down to a lot of sugar. So if we eat less of those, that's just less sugar coming into our bloodstream, and it won't keep pushing our blood sugars high.
So when you say starch, what foods would they be?
So they're things like bread, rice, pasta, potatoes.
That's what we all eat.
It is, and if we look at our diets these days, it's totally different to what it used to be. Really, we're still a hunter-gatherer biologically speaking, and in those early times we didn't eat much of that food, but now we're basically overdosing on it.
Okay, so reduce that and increase what else too?
A little bit more protein, so our meat, chicken, fish, eggs, those sorts of things from animals. Also fruit and vegetables. We don't need to be scared off fruit. I hear a lot of people asking me, isn't fruit full of sugar? And yes, fruit does have sugar in it, but it's mostly water, so a little bit of fruit is okay.
Okay. So is there a cure?
There's not exactly a cure, but we can basically get our body working in a way so that the disease disappears.
And how do we do that?
Well, we do that one with our diet by eating the foods that don't break down into much sugar, and then also using certain herbs like gymnema, fenugreek, and cinnamon. Then there's also nutrients like magnesium and lipoic acid, which just work as natural agents that help keep blood sugars down.
Okay, so why is there such a big deal made about diabetes? Is it life-threatening?
Yes, it is definitely life-threatening. When your blood sugars get too high, what they do is they break down the tissues and the organs, and so you start to get things like heart disease, nerve damage, and over time that progresses to a point where, yes, it will kill you.
So obviously it's really essential that you put the prevention in place now.
Exactly, because by the time you start feeling these symptoms or noticing them, the damage is already done. So if you just keep your sugars down naturally and basically get your nutrient levels up with these important nutrients I talked about, then you can prevent a lot of these nasty symptoms later on.
Sounds like really good, valuable information. Thanks again, Hayden.
You're welcome.
For more information, go to healthyremedies.com.au.